Make up the ones you got wrong.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, on a sheet.
Like, I feel like
What?
On a sheet.
maybe, no, it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, hello, everybody. Welcome to another Jewish U. Tanya, GPS for the soul. And it's been a couple weeks since we had the class, since we had snow and we had canceled school. I think it was a couple weeks canceled school. Yeah. So we're getting back into the Tanya today. I know it's been a few weeks break. So I'll just give a quick review of what we spoke about so far. There's sushi, there's bekaziti, help yourself. And yeah, it was freezing cold and it was snowing and whatever else was going on. So we didn't meet already for I think 2 weeks. This is I think 2 weeks I think we didn't meet.
Well, last week we didn't meet.
So I'm glad to be back. And here we are. Oh, then it was the Fast Vesta right before Purim. So we are doing GPS for the Soul, part of the Jewish U course curriculum. Some of you have learned Tanya together with me or other people other times as well. And we skipped all the introductions. We just jumped straight into the material. So I'll give a quick review of what we spoke about the first two classes. Class number 1 was chapter 3. Class number 2 was chapter 4. And today, class number 3 is going to be chapter 5. Why we didn't start with chapter 1, whatever. That's a story for another time. I think we did that in one of the other GPS for the Soul series. So I hope everyone had a nice Purim. I had a nice Purim. And some of you were here for some of it, either Megillah readings or the Purim feast, the Seudah, and different parts of Purim and so forth. So that was really nice, and I hope everyone enjoyed their Purim. Now, of course, we're getting ready for Pesach. The Jewish U class last Thursday actually already was talking about Pesach. So anyway, so let's do a brief review, very brief review of chapters 3 and 4, and then we're going to jump into today's topic, which is chapter 5. The official title for today is Learners of Torah Unite, which has a double entendre for those of you who speak French. Anybody speak French here? Double entendre doesn't sound as good as double entendre. A double meaning, right? So Learners of Torah Unite, we're going to see, has a double meaning to it, as we're going to discuss in the discussion today. So chapter 3. Chapter 3 we discussed, and you can, by the way, at the end of the course, if this is your first Jewish U course with us, you have to fill out like a survey afterwards that says what you learned. You're not being tested or grilled. We just want to see if you were actually here. So, and I don't see that. That goes to the central office of Chabad on campus, who is the ones in charge of administering all the credits for Jewish U and so forth. So you are required, by the way, if you want to get the credits for Jewish U, you have to fill out those surveys, which are usually sent, I think, right at the end of the 4th class for each course, right? That's the way it usually works? Yeah. It's not hard. It's easy. You just have to do it. If you don't do it, no credits. If you do it, you'll get the credits. It's not a test. But anyway, chapter 3 of Tanya said that we began a discussion of the anatomy, if you will, the spiritual anatomy of the soul. Everything has its structure, its anatomy, right? A car has engine. A car has, what are you guys looking for?
He's looking for water.
Water from the tap. You can get some cups over here. Maybe there's a green pitcher over there, possibly, or maybe under the sink here. You can fill that one up.
Are these there?
What?
Are these meat?
That's meat. So please don't use those. Thank you very much. So chapter 3, we said that the soul has a spiritual structure to it, has a spiritual anatomy. And in brief, the anatomy is 10. It's comprised of 10, I don't want to say parts, because the word part implies division. And when we're talking about the soul, which is infinite, there is no division. If you divide infinite in half, you still have infinite. So there's no real division within the soul. But let's just call it parts, the failing of the English language, or elements, or aspects, or degrees or variations. I'm not sure exactly, or channels possibly. So our soul is made up of 10 soul powers, which are each a different type of spiritual energy. 3 of those are the intellect, 7 of those are the emotional attributes. And we didn't go into the details of those. That wasn't the topic quite yet. We'll probably get into that in a future Tanya discussion. What exactly are the 10 soul powers? We'll discuss that more in detail. Then we said chapter 4, that in chapter 3, the 10 soul powers are basically who you are. They're basically like your essence, your core, your potential, they're not really your essence, but they're basically what you're all about, what you're capable of, your potential, and so forth. And for the most part, that doesn't change. Whatever you got at birth, whatever your soul powers are, that's what they are. And I said, for the most part, they don't change. Because really the truth is, spoiler alert, you could change them a little bit, kind of like how you could take a piece of sandpaper and take a rough piece of wood and you could sand it down to smooth it. The wood is still the same piece of wood. You didn't change it to a different piece of wood. It's the same wood, but you were able to smooth it a little bit. So spiritually speaking, there's something similar to that as well. That's why I said, for the most part, our 10 soul powers don't change. Chapter 4 said, in addition to the 10 soul powers, we have garments. Remember, I drilled the numbers home, right? Remember? Everyone knows the 10 soul powers. How many garments? I did a bad job drilling it home.
7.
No. 10 soul powers. How many garments of the soul? 3. Thank you. 3 garments. Anybody remember what they are? No bonus points for this. Anybody remember what the 3 garments are? Yeah.
Please
No.
forgive me, I'm rusty, but I
That's
want to say wisdom, knowledge.
No, that's the intellect. Yeah. No, that's the intellect. Those are 3 of the soul powers. You're right about those words. Those are the 3 intellectual soul powers. Chochmah, Bina, Das, which stands for Chabad. Now we're like picking things, how are things going here? Yeah. Okay. What are the 3 garments of the soul? Go ahead.
Is it the animal spiritual?
No, you're saying good stuff, but no.
Like speech.
Okay, Miriam, you're in the right direction. Speech, good. Thought, huh? And action. Thought, speech, and action. In Hebrew, machshava, thought, dibur, speech, and maaseh, or maaseh, probably as more people here would be familiar with saying it, action. Thought, speech, and action. Those things are not you. As we know, you could think things that you don't even agree with. You could think about an idea that you don't like, that you don't agree with. You could even say things that go against everything you stand for. You could say things that you completely disagree with, because you could say whatever you want, right? I could literally say words that I completely disagree with. So my thought, speech, and action are not me. They're not who I am. They are an expression of that. But because they're garments like a jacket, I could just take one off and put another one on. So if I'm saying words that I don't like or that I don't agree with, I could just take my jacket off, put a new jacket on, put new words on, in other words, if that's speech. Thought, speech, action are the garments of my soul. Just like a garment is outside of me, so to my garments, my spiritual garments of my soul are external. They are my outsides. They are my behavior. They are my expression. They're what I'm doing, which again, what I'm doing, and when I say doing, I mean either thinking, saying, or physically doing. What I'm doing is not necessarily me. They're expressions of that. So in the perspective of the Tanya, basically, my task in the world is to take control of the clothing that I wear, take control of my garments. Take control of the clothing I allow my mind to think about, take control of what I allow myself to speak about, and take control of what I allow myself to do or not do, as the case may be. Change who I am? Well, in the view of the Tanya, we don't really have to change who we are. You're fine just the way you are. Nothing wrong with you. God made you this way, so you're good to go. How you behave? That's a different topic. That's a different topic, how we behave. We all know we've all fallen short, and I'm sure if anybody here would be honest, right? We would know we've all, you don't have to be as old as me to have recognized in your life that you may have certain experiences that you feel like you fell short. You didn't succeed, like you didn't live up to who you could have been. Does that mean you're a bad person? God forbid, of course not. It means you fell short. No, okay, so you fell short. So next time, try to not fall short. So we don't have to necessarily change who we are. Who I am is great. What do I do? That's a good question. What do I do? And again, doing, I'm including thought. I'm including thought in doing. So the view of the Tanya, chapter 4, first of all, we have the 10 soul powers, chapter 3. Chapter 4, we have the 3 garments. That's my expression. That's my behavior. That's not my kishkiz. Anybody know the word kishkiz?
Guts.
My guts. That's not my guts. That's not who I am. my expression, it's my behavior, it's my external behavior. That I can and must learn to take control of. What do we call a person who cannot control their thought, speech, and action?
Animal.
A Rasha, a bad person, okay, an animal. Yeah. Animal. A bad, maybe we call them a little bit crazy, maybe. Really? You really can't control what you do? Are you healthy? Is there something wrong with you? You cannot control what you do? Maybe you need a doctor. There might be something wrong with you. You cannot control what you say. You just like say things all day long. You blah, 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 blah. You're not able to control it? Really? If not, there might be something wrong with you. You might need to actually go to a doctor. I don't mean that in jest. I mean, for real, you might need to go to a doctor. Okay. Chapter 5 is where we come to today. And chapter 5 is going to analyze and discuss a statement from the Zohar. So put your Kabbalah hats on, your mystical hats on. We're going to become Kabbalists right now and study a little bit of Kabbalah. It's not really Kabbalah, but it's a quotation from Kabbalah. So the Alter Rebbe says like this. So the Tesefes biur be'erhetev loshen tfisa. I want to explain the word he says in Aram. It's actually an Aramaic word, but it's really the same in Hebrew. Tfisa. Tfisa means to grasp, G-R-A-S-P, or to apprehend. Should we give you more SAT words? Grasp, apprehend, understand, comprehend. Maybe we would, even if we want to be liberal with our translation, get it. Is that okay? Translation. Chap. Oh, thank you for the Yiddish. Chap. That's really actually probably the best translation of tfisa. Chap is to grab, to grasp. How do you grab something? How do you grab something?
With your hand.
With your hand. Anything? Ora says, how do you grab something? What do you mean? If I want to grab my beautiful little thermos here with some wonderful tea in here, I grab it with my hand. Is that I grasp it, I grab it and I grasp it. I apprehend it. Correct with my hand, right? Correct? You're good? Yeah? Everybody agree? Is that how you grasp or chap everything in life?
No.
No. What? Huh?
Like your mind.
Oh, what about ideas? How do you grasp an idea? With your mind. Where's the hand? There ain't no hand. How do you grasp an experience? How do you grab an experience?
Time with your eyes.
Time, eyes. How else?
Yes.
Mind,
Your senses.
senses. So not everything is grasped with our hand. Only something physical that I can touch, smell, whatever it may be. Only that, well, that's debatable smelling, but there are many other things in life that we can grasp, but not with our hands, with our mind, with our heart. How do we grasp God himself? How do we grasp something that you can't touch? How do we grasp or apprehend something spiritual?
Your soul.
With your soul. How do you do that? How do you tune it in? How do you tune it in to grasp a spiritual experience? Imagine it's Yom Kippur, you're in synagogue, and you feel like, man, I wish I could grasp this. I wish I could bottle it up and absorb it and take it inside. Or you have some other, I don't know, some spiritual experience, whatever spiritual experience. Don't like, I'm not trying to be cheesy here or cringe, as my kids and probably you guys would also say. Not trying to be cringe, but like, how do you grasp a spiritual experience? How do you do it? How do you tune in? So the Zohar says there's that Shomer Eliyahu, that it's Elijah the prophet, Eliyahu Navi, in the Zohar states, Leis machshava tefisa bach. No thought can grasp you. You with a capital Y. Who's that referring to? God himself. No thought can grasp you. Also, I should give up. I can't grasp him with my thoughts, so what's the point anyway? Nothing I do to try to understand the infinite, as close as I get, I'm still infinitely far away. So the point of this chapter is to explain what does it mean to apprehend something that you can't touch physically. So he explains, Hine, kol seichel, any idea, any concept, any idea, whether it's a mathematical idea, 2 + 2 = 4, whether it's an idea in Torah, what happens if your ox gores someone else's cow, and then now how do you assess the damages, whatever the topic may be. When you are trying to understand the idea, so to speak, going into your mind, your intellect, your brain is, metaphorically speaking, surrounding and grasping the idea. You're integrating it, you're taking it into your mind, you're absorbing it into your mind. And via muscle, and that concept idea is it's going into the seichel, into your brain, so to speak. Kind of like how an octopus would, if you could imagine octopus, totally wrapping itself around something. Okay, it says derech moshel. Let's give an analogy. What's happening? Let's say you're studying a passage in the Mishnah or a passage in the Gemara. It really could be anything. And you're going through it, you're analyzing it, and you're dissecting it. You're trying to understand what exactly is the case. My ox gored his cow. What are the laws? How does it work? Who owes who? What kind of ox was it? What kind of cow was it? Was this the first time it happened, the second time it happened, the third time, etc., etc.? All the details. And now let's say I got it clear in my mind. I nailed it. I totally get the idea. Your intellect is, so to speak, surrounding the concept, not physically, obviously, but conceptually. Surrounding it. And not only that, not only is your mind, so to speak, enveloping, surrounding conceptually the idea, but your mind is also going into the idea. To truly understand an idea, you have to, in a sense, enter that idea. You have to enter that world. Like our sages say, don't judge a person until you've stood in their shoes. You have to go into another person's place, what they really are, what really makes them tick, to really get what they're about before you could judge such a person. So intellectually, in a sense, the same thing happens. To really understand an idea, I have to enter it. I have to go into the palace, so to speak, to experience the palace. It's like, you ever have like an experience, whether it's at like an amusement park or whether it's a Jewish experience or just like a social experience, or you're at a ball game or whatever. And maybe there's that one of the friends that like won't let him or herself get into it. Like they hold themselves back. Okay, so that's fine. It's not wrong, but if you don't allow yourself to get into the experience, we say that, get into it. What do you mean get into it? Get into what? How do you get into a thing? You can't go into a thing. Not physically, but spiritually you could. I mean, physically, some things you could go into. So there's this dual nature of understanding an idea. There's number one, my intellect surrounds the idea. But number two is that my intellect becomes surrounded by the idea. It becomes all-encompassing. Now, whatever concept I may be studying in the Talmud, meaning like this, let's go further a little bit. This law, whatever it is that you're studying, is the wisdom and the will of God. Meaning halacha, Jewish law, is not just a list of do's and don'ts. It's not just a way to have an effective society. It's actually God's wisdom. It's actually God's wisdom. So, that God, for whatever reason, has such an idea that that if one guy comes to court and says, hey, you owe me $100, the other guy says, no, I don't, because I paid you half already, or whatever he says. So God says, in such a case, in such a scenario, the outcome, the law, the judgment should be whatever, C. A and B equals C. And even if this particular topic in the Talmud never happened and never will happen, there are actually such things in the Torah. Now, you ever heard of the Ben Sorer Umoreh? Yeah. The wayward child. We're not going to get into the details of that. But the wayward child, in brief, is a child who is wayward. Strays from his parents. I don't just mean religiously. Becomes a glutton and all sorts of sins and transgressions and inappropriate behavior. But the Talmud says There never was a Ben Sorer or More, and there never will be. So then why are you talking about it for? It's totally theoretical. Never has a child been in the category of Ben Sorer or More, a wayward child, and it never will be either. So why is the whole pages and pages in the Talmud about it? Why does the Torah talk about it? What's the relevance of such a discussion if it's never going to happen? Now, why would we need a whole series of pages in the Talmud to teach us the laws? What happens if one day you have a child and he becomes a wayward child? What happens? Ain't going to happen. The Talmud itself says it ain't going to happen. So what do you tell me what to do if it does happen? You hear the question? Law typically is about things that are relevant and practical. Yet, there are things built into the Torah, built into Jewish law that are completely irrelevant and will never happen. So what are you telling me? What are you wasting my time for? What is the game? I got nothing better to do than learn about the Ben Sorer or More, the wayward child that's never going to be anyway? Yeah.
Is it a warning not to be like, I mean, you can't be a Ben Sorer More, but you could be like a Ben Sorer More.
Okay, that's maybe one answer, is that it's a warning. This particular thing will never happen, but don't let yourself get close to it. Okay, that's a possible answer. Anyone else? Yeah, Binyamin.
Similar to what he was saying, it's like an edge case. That's like an extreme example that from that you can extrapolate like the opposite of what we should be doing or what we should.
Oh, so use the interesting word just to extrapolate.
Yeah.
Meaning that it's not necessarily about the details of the case per se.
Yeah.
But we want to extrapolate or extract from there. Anyone else? Yeah.
Maybe like to comfort, as in like to comfort the parents, as in like no matter how bad your children are, like the Torah gives an example of like worst case scenario. And in that case, like the child get the death sentence, and like no matter what your child's doing now, it's not a Ben Sower anymore.
Wow. Okay, that's a very nice kaf zechus interpretation that judges favorably. It's to encourage parents to say, "Listen, I'm the only parent here so far, right? Parenting can be hard. Ask your parents, or don't. Parenting can be hard, but no matter how difficult it may be, this is a beautiful interpretation. It's not that bad. It's never that bad. By the way, I heard once an interpretation similar to what you're saying. I don't know the source for it. I heard it years ago. Ben Sorer umoreh. Usually we just translate it as the wayward child. But I heard a different version. Ben Sorer, a child is wayward, umoreh, and he's also teaching you. The wayward child is teaching the parent how to be a human being, how to live, how to love, how to parent, which really is the truth. I can say this as a parent. Every child teaches you, the parent, maybe more than you teach your children. So that relates a little bit to what you're saying. So yeah, another way to understand it is like this, and it's a little bit similar to what Binyamin was saying, a little bit similar. What does 2 + 2 = 4 mean? Everybody knows math, right? I don't know math so well. What does 2 + 2 = 4? What does it mean? What does it mean? It's not a trick question. What does 2 + 2 = 4 mean? Hello, people.
Fact.
Huh?
It is a fact.
It's a fact. Okay, good.
I would say it's a logical statement.
Logical statement. Okay, good. What else? It means that if you take one thing, 2 things, 2 + 2, I said, right? 2 things, and you add another 2 things, you get
4 things.
4 things. What are the things?
Anything.
Oh, anythings.
But they must be the same.
So 2 + 2 = 4, in addition to being, as was noted, a fact, a logical statement, a logical construct, it also, even to a young child who's first learning addition, it also hints to something deeper than the 2 apples in front of you, and you're adding them to another 2 apples, and that equals 4. It's not just about how many apples you have. It's a process of addition, of change, of growth, of movement. So 2 + 2 = 4, if you can truly understand what it means, digs deeper beneath the surface. It's not just about how many apples. 2 apples + 2 apples, how many? 4 apples. It's not just about that. That's in fact the most superficial understanding of it. But really, 2 + 2 = 4 is teaching, is indicating, is driving at a greater reality, a deeper truth, a deeper reality. It's not just how many apples you have. It's not just how many toys or how many candies you have if you're a child. The child knows 2 + 2 means if I have 2 candies and I get 2 more candies, now I have 4 candies. It's even better. Okay, fine. But the child, it doesn't take much to start to see beneath the surface there. So too with the Ben Sorer More, a law that never happened, that never will happen. And for that matter, everything in the Torah. It's not just about the technical details of that law. It's what are those laws hinting at? What are they teaching us about a deeper reality in the world? Every law in the Torah exists in our world and our plane, and it also exists on a higher plane of reality. So even a law that never happened and never will happen, that doesn't matter. Because it's not just about the practical application of the law. It's about the meaning of the law. What's behind it? What are the ideas behind it? Like I suggested, 2 + 2 = 4 is not just about how many candies you have. It's also about the concept of adding. How do you add? How do you increase something? How do you multiply? It goes to something deeper. Yeah, questions or comments about this? Does this make any sense? Okay. Now, the Alter Rebbe in chapter 5 suggests somewhat of a radical idea. And that somewhat radical idea, I guess, is that this idea that we're saying now, that every idea, every concept, whether it's 2 + 2 = 4, whether it's the study of the orbit and is Pluto a planet? Remember when Pluto used to be a planet?
Yeah.
One day they decided, they made an announcement, guys, Rabbi Sai, Herzchaim, Rabbi Sai, rabbis, listen up, Pluto's not a planet anymore. And I was like, what are you talking about? I thought Pluto was a planet. You let me down. Wow, it's not a planet? Well, then what is a planet? Am I on a planet? What's a planet?
Who decides?
Who decided? It wasn't me. Was it you?
Be the democratic decision.
We should vote. Is Pluto a planet? So the answer nowadays is it's not a planet. So if I study the movement of the planet and the orbits and the Earth and the sun and the moon and the stars and Pluto, yes, Pluto, no, whatever, that's not the same, the Alter Rebbe suggests here in chapter 5 of Tanya, that's not the same as learning the Talmudic passage about the Ben Sorama or the wayward child, or learning Talmud, a Jewish law about Passover or Shabbat, anything. It's not the same. Even though on the surface, it is the same. Ideas are ideas. And when I learn them, I bring them into my mind. And I have to enter the idea in order to truly allow myself to experience, to be present in that moment, in that idea. But secular wisdom is not the same connection as when we study Torah. What's the difference? Well, the study of the stars, astronomy, right? When I study astronomy and the stars, I'm reading about and studying about and thinking about the ideas. Where are the stars? Somewhere far away. How far? Very far. Very is relative. So whatever the depth of the idea and the depth of my understandings of astronomy, I never actually connected to the stars themselves. I connected to the ideas, which is normal. Makes perfect sense. Of course, I didn't connect to the stars. The stars are up there far away. Me studying an astronomy textbook down here doesn't mean that I'm connecting to stars. Conceptually, maybe, but not actually. I didn't touch the stars. I've never been to a star. But when I study Torah, it's not like that. Why? Because God has placed himself within the Torah. Because Torah is God's wisdom. And the Zohar states that God's wisdom and he himself are one. You cannot say that about me, about a finite human being, but we say that only about God. That God and his wisdom are one. That's what it says in the Zohar. That's what it says in Kabbalah. God and his wisdom are one. So God's wisdom, which is the Torah, is one with God, which means that when I study Torah, I'm not just learning about stars that are far away and the stars remain separate. Through studying Torah, I am directly connecting to the stars themselves, not the stars. I'm directly connecting to God himself. It's not just the ideas, it's the thing itself that I'm studying about. Because God's wisdom is in the Torah, and God and his wisdom are one. So when we study Torah, there's a tremendous unity. That's why we call this week's class, Learners of Torah Unite. Double entendre. One meaning is, learners of Torah unite. Guys, we're all learning Torah, right? Let's unite. Let's come together. Let's unite to learn Torah. Jewish you. We're all uniting to learn Torah. That's one meaning of it. But a deeper level is, You know what it is? Learners of Torah unite. When we learn Torah, we unite with God Himself. We directly connect with God Almighty when we study Torah. Why? Because He has placed Himself within the Torah, so to speak, His wisdom, and He and His wisdom are one. Therefore, it's not like studying an astronomy textbook where the stars remain separate. And all I study are the motions and the gravitational pull and whatever it may be. It's not like that. It's the actual thing itself about which I am studying, which is God Himself. So if we want to plug in, if we want to be inspired, that's maybe cringe, right? To say that? It's not cringe. Okay. If you want to plug in, if you want to be inspired, I don't even know what cringe means. I just know my kids say it. So if you want to plug in, if you want to be inspired, if you want to wake up in the morning and say, I'm ready. Anybody here use Tom's toothpaste? I'm the only one. Huh? I didn't ask if it was good. That's which is a good toothpaste.
Colgate.
Colgate, Quest.
Strawberry flavor.
No, Tom's no, only the kids one.
Oh,
Tom's they have regular mint.
oh, yeah?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So maybe it's.
Maybe you'll try it again.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, it says forget the Tom. It says on the tube. Wake up. Listen to this. Wake up, brush teeth, make change. That's what it says on the tube of Tom's toothpaste. I'm gonna say it again. Wake up, brush teeth, make change. So every morning I go into my son's room, my little Zalmi, wake him up. I say, Zalmi, wake up, say Moda'ani. Thank God for giving your soul back. Brush your teeth and get ready to change the world. Every day I tell him that. So if you want to wake up and say, I'm ready to make change. I'm ready to take over the world. I'm ready to connect. I'm ready to be, if you want to wake up uplifted. Did you ever wake up uplifted before? Did you ever wake up and you're just like, yes, bring it on. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take care of whatever I need to do. You ever wake up like that?
Yeah.
You ever wake up the opposite? Also, right? We want to wake up elevated. It says in English. Lifted up, elevated. One way, I'm not going to make promises, but one way to, again, I don't want to make promises. One way to enhance how I feel, enhance my feeling of connectivity, enhance my feeling of purpose, enhance my feeling of bonding, of meaning, of guidance, of direction, is through studying Torah. And not just because now I know Torah, now I know an idea in Torah, not just because of that, but because when I learn Torah, I'm connecting with the source of all life. It's not studying an astronomy textbook, gravitational pull here, gravitational pull there. The stars remain in the heavens there. I'm no closer to the stars by studying astronomy than before I studied. But when I learn Torah, I am bonding to the source of all life. The life of life, the source of sources. So through studying Torah, I'm connecting to the object itself, to God Himself. And therefore, it gives me a boost. Again, I'm not making promises, but it gives me a boost to lift me up. So I can wake up, brush teeth, make change. But say Moda'ani in there. They're not Jewish. When Mashiach comes, the toothpaste will say, wake up, Moda'ani, wash your hands, Negelwasser, now get ready to change the world. That's when Mashiach comes, but it's not there yet. So they don't know what to write on the toothpaste exactly. Sorry if that was silly. I'm sorry, I know you don't like Tom's, but I look at it every morning and I just wake up, make change, brush teeth. Every morning I look at it, so I changed it for myself.
Made change.
That's right. Purim was a time that we make change. Purim was a time that we went totally beyond everything. That's what it means. On Purim, you're supposed to get drunk until you don't know the difference between cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordechai. What? That's Jewish? That's Jewish? The answer is for sure. Of course it's Jewish. It's the most Jewish thing there is. To get completely beyond everything. Beyond the world, beyond the stars, beyond the planets. Pluto's a planet or not a planet? I don't know. I don't know if Pluto's a planet or not. How could I possibly know? That's Purim. It's to be completely beyond, completely removed and elevated from everything around me. That at the core of everything is just that I have a soul. I'm in the neshama. I have a soul, and I have the opportunity to connect to God Almighty. So sometimes to do that, we need to have a l'chaim or two to strip away the layers, strip away the layers to get to the core, to get to what it really means to be alive, to be a human, to be present, to be in this world. That's why it says, the Talmud says, Nichnas yayin, when wine goes in, yotza soid, the secret comes out. The secret's not a secret, by the way. The secret is just that I could tune in to who I really am. I could tune into my soul, to allow myself to, like the person who was at that fun experience at the amusement park or at a movie or at a ball game or whatever it may be, and he just can't let himself get into it. Purim was the time when we said, okay, the wine comes in, the secret comes out. Allow it to happen, allow it to flow, allow ourselves to connect, allow myself to be who I really am, to connect, to bond, to be uplifted. Not to be embarrassed if I'm inspired, not to be embarrassed if I want to do something Jewish, God forbid. I mean, God forbid to be embarrassed, but to be lifted up. And that's a little bit what chapter 5 in Tanya is talking about. That we have an opportunity every day to connect to something totally beyond myself. Because when I'm connecting to myself, I mean, listen, I'm a nice guy, that's good, but like, come on. I'm so tiny. I'm so finite. Here's an SAT word. Infinitesimal. Is that a good word? I saw some questioning. Infinitesimal, tiny. Can't even measure, so small. I'm so tiny. So if I connect to myself, it's very nice, but I'm like, come on. But every day we could study Torah. Every day we could study Torah. And when I study Torah, I'm connecting to the source of all sources. By the way, how long do I have to learn Torah every day to accomplish that? Just a minute. Maybe half a minute. I'm not going to measure it exactly. Just a minute. And that's an infinite connection. It's an infinite bond with Hashem. How much time does it take to craft an infinite bond? An instant. That's all. And that can encompass the infinite Hashem himself. That's chapter 5 Tanya. This amazing opportunity to study Torah every day. For how long? For however long you need. But every moment of Torah study is infinite. Every moment of Torah study is not about studying about an idea like the stars, the astronomy, the planets, that I'll never actually reach them. But it's about studying something that when I learn Torah, at that very moment, I'm connecting to the very object of the study itself. I'm connecting to the stars, so to speak. Because God has placed himself, his wisdom into the Torah. And the Zohar tells us God's wisdom and he himself are one. So through his wisdom, we connect to him. Questions or comments? Okay, so hopefully this will give us newfound vigor and excitement to study Torah, and will help us wake up ready to make change for the good in the world. And thank you everyone for coming. And next week, chapter 6. Today was chapter 5. Next is chapter 6. Okay, thank you everyone for coming. See you next time.